Welcome to the CMMC Level 2 Readiness video series. In this video series, I'm going to walk you through each step of preparing for a CMMC Level 2 assessment. Aspire Cyber, we are a candidate CMMC third-party assessment organization. So we've gone through all these steps ourselves in addition to helping clients prepare for CMMC Level 2. So I'm going to give you really behind the scenes, let you peek behind the curtains of each step that Aspire Cyber took to prepare for our CMMC Level 2 assessment. Now, the assessment has not been performed yet because we are waiting to get on the DIPCAC schedule. It is a backup. Hopefully by June, we'll actually have our assessment completed. But hey, we're ready. And while I'm sitting around waiting, figured I might as well share these insights with you. To my knowledge, no other Prevail has given a step-by-step free video tutorial demonstrating how they prepare for their own CMMC Level 2 assessment. I want to be the first to do that for you. That'll be my gift to you. So let's get to it. If you're anything like me at this point, you are exhausted from all of the analysis paralysis. There is no shortage of information about the CMMC requirements and all of the anticipation of what's going to be in the final rule. That's important, don't get me wrong, but we've been doing that for years now. Ultimately, we know what the requirements are. NIST SP 800-171 Revision 2, those have been the same requirements that DFAR 7012 imposed since 2017. So if you're ready to roll up your sleeves and get to work, then you're in the right place, because every video in this series, we're going to have a deliverable. You're going to leave with the tools, templates, and guidance that you need to actually execute, not sit back, relax, and just listen to an analysis after expert analysis after expert analysis. No, you need to get busy. It's time to get to work. We don't need to wait until CMMC is in solicitations, because let me tell you, it takes a long time to fully implement NIST SP 800-171 to the level that you're going to be able to pass a CMMC Level 2 independent assessment performed by a C3PAO. So the best time to have gotten started was back in 2017. But if you missed that boat, then the next best time to get started is today. Not tomorrow, not once the rule is final. Today, I'm going to be your guide. Let's do it. We get busy executing. I must give you the disclaimer. Although I am a certified CMMC assessor, I am not your certified CMMC assessor. I am not your consultant. All of the information and guidance that I provide you in this video series is for informational purposes and tailored to Aspire Cyber. If you want CMMC preparation guidance specific to your organization, you either have to hire Aspire Cyber or consult with your CMMC consultant. All right, now that we've covered legal liability, let's start executing. As I mentioned, for this video series, I am going to use Aspire Cyber. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to share sensitive information or operational security details about Aspire Cyber's specific cybersecurity program. So for anything that falls into a sensitive category, realize that that information is going to be fictitious. I'm going to make that information up. However, the exact steps that Aspire Cyber followed to prepare for our CMMC Level 2 assessment. So let's take a minute and look at our sample company. I'm not going to read it to you, but just going to give you a high-level overview. So Aspire Cyber, we specialize in cybersecurity compliance. We specialize in helping defense contractors and subcontractors prepare for their CMMC Level 2 assessment. In addition, we offer a wide range of cybersecurity compliance services, from virtual CISO services, pen testing. We're on a mission to make cybersecurity compliance easy. Cybersecurity compliance does not have to be hard. I know it feels really challenging now in the context of CMMC. Stick with us throughout this series. And if I haven't made it easy for you, let me know, and let me know how I can make it easier for you. And best believe we will do everything in our power to do just that. Now, details about Aspire Cyber and CMMC assessment scope. We are a fully remote company, and we use Microsoft 365 Commercial and Prevail as our CUI Enclave. So it is an added bonus for any of you who are watching that have a similar setup where your company's remote, you use Microsoft 365, and you're using Prevail for your CUI Enclave. Hey, we're a match made in heaven. This should be really good guidance for you. And even if it's not, know that the principles and the guidance I'm giving is going to apply whether you're using Microsoft GCC High, virtual desktop, your hybrid environment, or you strictly work in office. same guidance is going to apply. Rest assured the same guidance applies. No worries. I have you all covered. Now that we have the administrative details out of the way, our mission is to conquer CMMC and leverage a CMMC Level 2 certification as a significant competitive advantage. So you have to reframe how you're looking at CMMC. Don't just look at it as just some overly burdensome contractual requirement, which in many ways it is. However, the train has left the station. So you might as well hop on board and use that CMMC certification as a differentiator from between you and your competitors to demonstrate not only to the Department of Defense, but also to your commercial clients that their sensitive data is safe with you. So whether it's government customers or private sector customers, they want to know that when they're doing business with your organization, you're going to keep their data secure. And what better way to prove that by achieving a CMMC Level 2 certification? Just to reiterate, my aim is to equip you with all of the information, tools, templates, resources, everything that you need to accomplish our mission, everything that you need to conquer your CMMC readiness journey. Each video, we're going to have a deliverable. By the time you finish that video, if you actually, whether you're working along with me or you execute the steps following the video, you'll have that deliverable and you can continue to progress towards full CMMC compliance. This is just a high level. We'll do asset inventory, network diagram, data flow diagram, CMMC Level 1 self-assessment, and the big daddy of them all, CMMC Level 2 readiness assessment. I'm walking through each of those steps to help you armor up so that you ultimately become CMMC proof. So once you get to that point, you can focus your time and energy fully on growing your business. So in this first video, we will be doing an asset inventory. That was the first step that Aspire Cyber did in preparation for our CMMC Level 2 assessment. And it's the same step that we guide our clients through when helping them prepare for their CMMC Level 2 assessment. Now, the approach that Aspire Cyber takes for CMMC Level 2 readiness is really segmenting the steps, making sure we're following each required step in a specific order and getting those quick wins so we can capitalize on that momentum. The asset inventory falls in the category of scoping. So the asset inventory, you're going to be able to identify all of your assets that's in scope, out of scope, and then categorize them accordingly before you do anything else. Now, there's other steps involved in scoping, but we're starting with that asset inventory. Once we complete that scoping, next we're doing an IT risk assessment so that your organization can make risk-based decisions. That's going to help save you a lot of time and money and prioritize which assets you're protecting. I'm going to walk you through a CMMC Level 1 self-assessment. That's going to be the 15 requirements if your organization is processing, storing, or transmitting FCI, that federal contract information. And then also we're going to do a CMMC Level 2 gap assessment. That's going to be all 110 practices from NIST SB 800-171. And we're also going to cover all 320. Woo, that's a lot. Assessment objectives, because you cannot accurately perform a NIST SB 800-171 gap assessment without addressing each assessment objective. Next, remediation. So once we've identified the gaps, we document them in that POAM, we're going to do remediation. I'm going to walk you through some items that Aspire Cyber had to remediate in preparation for our assessment. Now, documentation is a whammy. There's a lot of documentation required for CMMC Level 2. So I'm going to walk you through all of the documentation you're going to need. And Aspire Cyber does offer a documentation package. So you're going to see all of the documentation from the policies, procedures, checklists, everything that you need for your documentation, we're going to cover. Next, testing. Once we've did our remediation, have our documentation in place, now we need to test all those controls, administrative, technical controls. We need to test them. So I'm going to walk you through how Aspire Cyber tested our controls in preparation for CMMC Level 2 assessment. You need to train your end users. Oftentimes, the end user are the weakest link. It's really important to understand for CMMC Level 2, it's not an IT problem. CMMC is going to require everyone within the organization to be involved, from HR to the secretary to security guards, managed service providers. everyone's involved to satisfy these requirements. So we want to make sure we have the proper training. And then lastly, assessment prep. So when we're working with our clients, we do mock assessments. We make sure they have all the evidence mapped and wrapped neatly in a bow for when that assessor shows up, to make their job easier, which is going to also make your life easier and make that assessment go smoothly if you have all your I's dotted and T's crossed. That's the approach that Aspire Cyber took to get ready. And this is the same approach that we take when helping our clients get ready for a CMMC Level 2 assessment. You might have guessed it's going to be the same approach you're going to follow in this video series. So buckle up. There's no turning back now. Time to get your hands dirty. I mentioned that Aspire Cyber uses Prevail. So we are a Prevail customer and also a preferred partner. Been very happy with Prevail. In addition to being a customer, we have referred several of our clients to use Prevail as well. Prevail essentially is a CUI Enclave, and they are hosted on AWS Gov Cloud. As of February 2024, Prevail is the first company that the DoD DIPCAC has designated as FedRAMP moderate equivalent. So we're going to get in more details about what that entails. But just know that, the DoD has signed off on Prevail, approving them as being a software solution authorized to store controlled unclassified information, CUI. So it's just an alternative option to GCC, GCC High, or AWS Gov Cloud. Those are all great solutions, but the associated costs can be significantly more for those other solutions, just depending on what all you need. Now, for Aspire Cyber, us being a small business, Prevail was a viable, cost-effective option for us. To my knowledge, no other C3PO has used Prevail up to this point to pass their C3PO assessment. So we're hoping that Aspire Cyber will be one of the first companies to do that. And the reason that is because up until last month, February 2024, Prevail had not yet been officially designated by the DoD as FedRAMP moderate equivalent. Now, the purpose of this illustration is just kind of show you that if you're storing your CUI in any cloud environment, what you're going to be responsible for if you're using Prevail. Now, if you're not using Prevail, if you're using another cloud service for your CUI Enclave, should be pretty similar. Understanding that that cloud service provider, they're going to be responsible essentially for the infrastructure and then the operating system. But typically the customer is going to be responsible for whoever they give access to that environment, whatever devices that they are allowing to access that environment, mobile devices, PCs, laptops, BYOD. That's fully the customer's responsibility. Whatever information you put inside that cloud environment is the customer's responsibilities. So in this case, Aspire Cyber is storing our CUI in Prevail. Now, an alternative to that, if you're storing your CUI on site, then you see as a customer, you're fully responsible for all of the controls. So you would not inherit any of the controls. The orange illustrates inherited controls, where any of those controls that map back to NIST SB 800-171, I can mark that control as met and then gather the information I need from Prevail in this case to demonstrate compliance with that control. So that's why it's really important if you're using a CUI Enclave to avoid processing, storing, or transmitting CUI outside of that CUI Enclave so you can maximize the control that you inherit. In this example, Aspire Cyber is limiting the CUI to only be stored in Prevail, and we're also going to be using designated devices that are only authorized to access the Prevail environment. We want to limit that scope as much as possible, so we're not going to print CUI and we're not going to store, process, or transmit CUI outside of the secure Prevail CUI Enclave. Limit your scope, which translates into time save, money save, less heartache, and ultimately can make your journey, your CMMC readiness journey, a lot easier. This is the shared responsibility model. Analogy I like to use is think about your home as the CUI Enclave. The infrastructure as far as the streets, the sidewalks, the street lights, your local government's responsibility for maintenance and security outside of your home. Inside of your home, that's going to be your responsibility. So think about the blue as being inside your home. You're responsible for who you let inside your home, responsible for who you let live there, what type of activities you're doing inside of your home, whether you leave your doors unlocked and windows are open. You're responsible for securing your home. So that's the same with a CUI Enclave. Cloud service provider responsible for the infrastructure and operating system, make sure that it's working properly. However, you're responsible for what goes on inside of your environment. Hopefully that paints a clear picture. Now let's move on. Now we are at the execution phase of this video. So everything that I discussed up to this point was just laying the groundwork, setting the stage for what to expect throughout this video series. The deliverable for this video is going to be helping you complete an asset inventory. Now, regardless of where you are in your CMMC readiness journey, you always should start with that asset inventory. You need to know which assets are in scope for your CMMC level 2 assessment and being able to categorize those assets properly. If you haven't completed an asset inventory yet, do not pass go. Do not collect $100. You are in the right place right here, right now. I'm going to show you just how to do it. This spreadsheet that you are looking at, I downloaded from the DipCAC's website. This is included in their CMMC C3PO assessment package. So no worries about it. I'm going to share the links with you to this, where you can find this exact spreadsheet and all of the other resources provided on the DipCAC's website. I think it's a good template to use. They do provide samples of what they're looking for, how to complete the asset inventory. I've already updated this asset inventory with the sample information for Aspire Cyber. Now you'll notice for the asset category, I have intentionally left this blank because that's going to be our next video. It's important to segment it, follow the steps. I don't want you jumping ahead. I don't want you getting overwhelmed. We're conquering this CMMC elephant one bite at a time. The first bite is going to be the completing an asset inventory. And we'll get to the asset categories once we have the assets identified. What I recommend, a good best practice is, try to identify all of your assets, your software, people, processes, technology. Oftentimes when I'm working with clients, when they're listing their assets, they're thinking about just the hardware, or the servers, or the cloud environment, or laptops, mobile devices, but they're not thinking about the different applications, the people that have access to the software, the end users. In the context of CMMC, you want to think about the people, processes, and technology. People, processes, technology, and also facilities. In column B, we have the asset. For Aspire Cyber, our CUI Enclave, as you know, is Prevail. We have one Prevail license. The asset type for Prevail is technology. And then I give a brief description about what Prevail is. And then you also can add additional comments in column F. So pretty straightforward. It's not a painful process to do an asset inventory. You just have to take the time and do it. And depending on how large your organization is, you may need to involve other stakeholders to gather the necessary information that you need. But it is critical to do this first step, to set the foundation, to know what you're working with. We have the secure Enclave user. I mentioned you can't forget about your people. So the users who are going to have access to Aspire Cyber's Prevail environment, categorizing them as secure Enclave user. The number, how many users? 24. Type, people. And these are the people authorized to work within the CUI Secure Enclave. As I mentioned, scoping is so important. This asset inventory is a first step within scoping. The number of users in our commercial environment are saying 147, but of those 147 people, only 24 will have access to Prevail. So you want to limit that scope as small as possible. If someone doesn't have a need to access your CUI Enclave, don't give them access, because the more people you give access, the more you are expanding your scope. Make sure whoever you're giving access to your CUI has a lawful purpose to access it. So if I come into your organization and I'm doing a readiness assessment, we're going through this asset inventory, you're using Prevail, and let's say you have 100 employees and all 100 employees have access to Prevail. My first question is going to be why, and if they actually need access. Does the secretary really need access to your CUI Enclave? Does your MSP really need access to your CUI Enclave? If they don't have a lawful purpose, if they're not involved in that defense contract, is either receiving or producing that CUI, then they should not have access. So hopefully I've driven that point home for you. Next, moving down to endpoints. All right, what endpoints are going to be accessing our Prevail environment? As I mentioned, we are using designated endpoints to access Prevail. We have commercial clients, and we also have defense contractors as clients. And once we become a C3PO, the Department of Defense is going to technically be one of our clients because we will be performing those C3PO assessments on their behalf. Therefore, anyone working in that government space, the DoD space, from Aspire Cyber has a dedicated laptop, and only that dedicated laptop accesses Prevail, not the commercial laptops. So that's how we're segmenting them. See here, column E, these endpoints are authorized to access the CUI Enclave. Only these endpoints. Next, we use Microsoft 365 for our security services to protect the endpoints. We're using Defender for cloud, Defender for endpoints, Intune for mobile device management. These are all part of the security services that's provided through Microsoft Commercial, and Microsoft Commercial is FedRAMP moderate. However, just a quick note, Microsoft Commercial is not authorized to store CUI. We'll dive into that a lot more later, but just want to let you know that real quick. And then also we use Microsoft Entra ID, formerly known as Microsoft Active Directory. So it's to manage our user accounts. Collaboration teams, that's how we're doing our meetings, Microsoft Teams. CMMC Proof, that is a GRC tool that Aspire Cyber developed, used to complete our gap assessments and track our assessment and manage our CMMC readiness process. We have 5 users that have access to that, falls into the technology category. Next, our Microsoft Office 365 commercial, SharePoint, Teams, Outlook, OneDrive, whatever you're using, whatever apps, solutions you're using within, in this example, Microsoft, you want to list those. How many people have access? 147. And specifying that this is part of our commercial environment. In Human Resources app, 147 users, technology category, commercial. In the notes section, I specify that the commercial environment is segregated from the secure enclave. So segregated from Prevail. That's the key. You have to have that either logical and or physical separation, your CUI enclave. Trust me when I say a key to your success and the key to making this easy for you is going to be breaking it down into bite-sized pieces. That's how you're going to capitalize on that momentum and conquer this CMMC elephant one bite at a time. We've got our accounting app, our project management application. All of those are commercial and segregated from Prevail. There's logical and physical separation. Company headquarters, Aspire Cyber is a virtual company. However, we do have a virtual office that whenever we do need to meet clients in person, go to our corporate office. And emphasize that people who process, store, or transmit CUI do not reside in the company headquarters facility. So no CUI related work is done inside the corporate facility or virtual company. You have email, file storage, SharePoint, OneDrive. So hopefully this kind of gives you an idea of the process. This is really the easy part. And you're just listing your hardware, your software, your users, applications. And this is a good template that's provided by the DoD's DIPCAC, Defense Industrial Base Cybersecurity Assessment Center. Quite the tongue twister, but I will provide you with the link so you can access all of the tools and resources and templates that they provide on their website. It doesn't have to be complicated. Aspire Cyber mission is to make this easy. This is the first step. Asset inventory. As an added bonus, I'm going to show you another spreadsheet because NIST SP 800-171 is not prescriptive. It doesn't tell you how you have to document your assets and asset inventory. There's many different ways you can do it. This is one example. And then for an added bonus, I'm going to show you another example spreadsheet you can use, or whether you're using an application, whatever you want to do, as long as you do it, that is the key. So this is a asset inventory template that's provided by CIS, so the Center for Internet Security. And what I like about their template is they break it out into separate tabs for software and hardware. All right, so I did a quick example of how I would fill this out. So for software, list Prevail, the type CUI Enclave, description, secure email and file storage, version, developer, months, license key, date purchase, and notes. You can add as much information as you want or minimum information. Then next we have the actual hardware separated out into a separate tab. In this example, this is a Dell Inspiron as the asset name, type laptop, workstation for accessing the Prevail CUI Enclave, MAC address, IP, physical location, asset owner. That's very important, know who the asset owner is. So this is just another resource for you that you can use with doing your asset inventory. As promised, these are the links to everything that I discussed today. As far as the DIPCAC template, you can go here. The CIS 18, that template, you can go here. I will post this presentation in the CMMC Proof private LinkedIn group. So if you want to join that group to get all of the templates and PowerPoints and just collaborate with other defense contractors who are preparing for their CMMC level 2 assessment and also other CMMC experts, highly encourage you to join our CMMC Proof private group on LinkedIn. And this entire CMMC level 2 readiness video series will be on Aspire Cyber's YouTube page. So certainly subscribe, comment, let me know how we can make your CMMC level 2 journey easy. Hope you got a lot of value from this video. This is just the first of many. The CMMC readiness journey is a long, comprehensive process. That's why this video series is broken out into one executable per video. Check out our website, aspirecyber.com. Feel free if you have questions for me. I'm always willing to jump on a call or answer your questions via email. So just let me know how I can assist. In the next video, we will be covering scoping and actually categorizing the assets. So make sure you come back for that video. This is not a la carte. You need the whole shebang-a-bang. You need all the video series to get you from A to Z. If you receive value from this episode, I invite you to subscribe and like so that you're the first to know when we release new episodes. Also check out cmmcproof.com to learn more about the arsenal of resources that we provide to equip you to conquer CMMC. We'll see you next time.